Purchase the whole ball of wax now through the end of August and receive one free LAL 2022 admission, a $197 value. When you buy the whole ball of wax, you will automatically be registered for the event. No additional steps required. Law Entrepreneur Academy Live is the event to take your company to new heights as you learn from industry leaders at this amazing one-day event. Act now. This free ticket offer to LAL 2022 and purchasing the whole ball of wax won't last forever. Go all in today and secure your seat for the industry's best in-person training conference in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 12th. The whole ball of wax includes all the training programs, documents, resources, and postcard designs at thelaunchpreneuracademy.com and the ticket to LAL 2022. This deal ends August 31st, so don't delay. Tickets to the event can be purchased separately from the whole ball of wax promotion.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, I'm really excited about changing things up on the podcast episodes here. We've been doing a bunch of solo shows the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, but we do have a ton of great guest interviews lined up, including today's show. We're joined none other than by Taylor Josephson. Josephson or Josephson? How did I say that, brother? Josephson. I knew I could get that right. But of course, when you hit the magical red button, of course, you get it wrong on the live air version. You know what I mean? So nonetheless, super excited about getting you on the show today. And we've actually been messaging back and forth quite a bit on Instagram and then Facebook Messenger. And we're gonna share your story today, man. We're really excited about that. And so really quick, before we go down the whole rabbit hole and share your startup story, why don't you guys or why don't you give these guys like maybe the minute or two, I kind of call it the highlight reel, and let you guys know your background, where you're from, what your company looks like, and we'll kind of go into the thick of it here in a quick minute. But give us the 2-minute highlight reel. What's your background? What's your story?
I appreciate it, Brian. I've actually been looking forward to this conversation here for a little while.
Yeah.
So I actually started my business in, I would say, probably January of 2020. I looked at my wife and said, I'm going to start a landscaping business, and she said, "Yeah, sure you are."
Sure.
So we filed the LLC to make it a little more real. I bought my first mower, which was a trade-in at my local dealer. They got it from a school that didn't know how to use a walk-behind, but it's actually a early 2000s Exmark Viking 48-inch.
Okay.
And I got that $350 trailer, 5x8. Craftsman weed whacker. And I said, yeah, let's do this. I'm going to do this on the side. I was working at a car dealership in the service lane, making pretty good money, but I wanted to do something more. I kind of want to be my own boss.
Okay.
And we did that, jumped right into it, doing it on the weekends, ended up signing a small HOA condo association. So my justification to my wife was, I can do this if I can get a sit-down zero turn, because I'm not walking 3 acres in total.
Sure.
And I ended up buying an Exmark 754-inch. Great little mower. I think it's like the intro grade to, commercial grade stuff. They actually don't make that model anymore from what I've been told. And then just started doing it on the weekends. Had a blast, learned a lot. I think I watched a lot of your YouTube, Keith Kelfis, and, a bunch of the guys that were on YouTube to kind of get an idea of what I should be doing. Because, first year in, made a lot of mistakes, and I'd say I'd learned from them, but I find myself making the same ones every now and again.
Sure.
But, we had a great time. Got into the year there. I had a Toyota Tundra, and I said, if I could find a plow, I can plow on the side during the winter and make some more money. So I ended up finding a plow for it, got all set up, plowed through the winter, went into mowing the next year, got rid of the HOA, a little too big for what I was trying to do. More commercial stuff, more residential is what we were kind of getting into. And I've kept those customers right along. Fast forward some to this year, I said I was going to try to figure out how to go full time. Actually, we'll back up just a little bit there.
Yeah.
when I wanted to go full time, I was talking with this customer who said they had a garden that they wanted done at their house, which was kind of what I was trying to do a lot of because I didn't know how to do pavers or anything like that. So we talked about that, and they said, well, I want to do my restaurant as well, and that's a little more time sensitive. What can we do? So they gave me the address. I drove down to it, and it's actually a McDonald's store. So
Okay.
I went through their garden. I showed them the plans. I told them the price. They said, perfect, let's do it. I have some of the, the higher VPs coming in. Can we get it done, within 3 weeks? I said, yeah, I can move stuff around. We'll get it done for you. They were so impressed with it when it was done. About 2-3 weeks after that, I get a phone call saying, hey, meet us at our office. We want to chat. So I said, about what? Fast forward a little bit there, get to the office. They want me to take care of 10 of their properties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I guess the guy they had, not knocking him at all. I probably was a little more involved in their little split up there.
Mm-hmm.
But they ended up giving me the contract and it wanted me to start last winter. And I told them I didn't have a house. I had one kid already, another one on the way. Needed to find a house for, the kids, the family, the dogs, so we can all have our own space.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly so my wife didn't try to kill me.
Right.
It was going to come if we stayed longer in an apartment.
Oh, yeah. We're having those conversations now.
But yeah, I mean, I jumped right into it. I said, I can't do it. They said, fine, we'll keep him on for one more winter.
Okay.
Fast forward a little bit. I messaged them. I said, hey, kid's going to be coming here in March. Are we still down for starting the spring? And she said, absolutely. Get us a contract. We'll sign it.
Oh, wow.
So I was absolutely amazed by that. The numbers I threw at them, I know for a fact were probably $10,000 more than the last guy was taking care of it for.
Okay.
So I figured there's no way I'm going to get this. They're going to be cheap on it.
Wow.
They said, yeah, no problem. Let's do it.
Man, that's awesome. So now are you full-time with the company now, or are you still working at the dealer?
Yep. So I gave my manager a month's notice.
Okay.
Just because, the dealership, as much as I hated days there, they were very good to me. I was working corrections before that in a deep depression, all that stuff. They actually saved me quite a bit, so I can't be mad at them as much as I hated days working there. But
sure.
As of April 8th, I have been full-time in my company, and we have been killing it ever since.
Dude, that's all. April 8th of this year?
Of this year, yep.
Wow, man. So you're a freshie. You got like 3 months under your belt, not even, of being full-time self-employed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in March, they gave the guy his notice that in 30 days he was done. And he threw such a fit that they ended up just handing him his last check saying, stay off our properties. And I got a phone call like the same day saying, hey, he's done. Can you plow for us for the rest of the season if anything comes up? And I said, sure, I'll figure it out, I guess.
it was go mode after that, man. Basically off to the races,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I upgraded the Tundra. I now have a 2019 F-250 that just so happened to be sitting on the lot when I walked through it one day. So I got that at a good deal before I left. I just go.
Man, that's awesome. Well, good for you. Well, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. We still got to make sure we pay the bills around here, just like you are now off to the races paying the bills with your new lawn and landscape company last couple of years and going full time. But, dude, that is really, really awesome. Well, welcome to the land of the living, I'll call it, because when you are self-employed, it's kind of like it's like a trapeze artist. You have to let go of that first rope and just pray to Jesus that second rope is over there. Because if you hold on to the first rope, you're obviously never going to connect to the second rope, and you might not have enough momentum to swing all the way back to the stand, where you were in the safe, kind of against the dock, against the shore in the harbor, if you will. We always talk about, taking your boat into deep water and casting off the ropes and going to get your haul. But really quick, let's do this really. I want to just take a quick break because I want to keep this conversation going, keep the momentum going. We were having a great couple minute powwow before we hit record. forward. And there's a lot of stuff that I want to unpackage here about your story, including I want to hear some of the thoughts that you had with the reservations or the excitement about going full time, because that's still one of the most common questions I get, especially with coaching calls. Like, hey, what do I have to do to get this thing, or what's the best kind of scenario I can line myself up to go full time? And so, as somebody who just did it, I want to kind of pick your brain and see how you guys did it. Good, bad, or ugly. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about equipment. You've got some Ferris stuff as well. We don't get access to a lot of Ferris equipment around here, so let's do this really quick, guys. Let's hear from today's show sponsors and announcements, and then we're going to come back in just a quick second and hear a little bit more of Taylor's startup story in just a quick minute.
Is your back sore from spreading peat moss manually? Are you sick of spending hours trying to create even layers in your yard, only to lose 30% of your product to a wind gust or uneven distribution? If you are looking for a quick, easy, and efficient solution that will not leave you covered in dirt and dust, the Landsea Compost and Peat Moss Spreader is the answer to your prayers. Expertly developed in the USA with a lightweight frame and comfort grip handles, this powder-coated mesh barrel roller makes spreading a breeze no matter the size of your project. Simply clip the handles into a cymbal, load it up with the top dressing of your choice, close the latches, and roll away. Featuring a tumbling cage to break up large clumps and distribute your product evenly every time, our spreader is better for your lawn and better for your wallet. Our modern approach to lawn care will have your lawn looking lush and professionally maintained in no time. With our complimentary Landsea lifetime product warranty and free shipping year-round, you can buy with confidence knowing that we've literally got your back. Visit Landsea.com to learn more and place your order today. That's LANDZIE.com and use Brian's 10 at checkout to save 10%.
All right, guys, we are going to jump right back into it. We've got our great guest on line number 2, or I wonder if it's line number 1. I guess, I don't know if I'm line 1 and you're line 2, Taylor, or if I'm just the host and then there's line 1. Maybe Mr. Producer can help us understand how all this works, but excellence in broadcasting, I think, is what my friend Paul Jameson says. It's funny, like, you just jump into a podcast and people are like, man, you've got a great podcast. And I'm like, we have a decent podcast. I'm very grateful for it. But we have no background in broadcasting. And by the way, broadcasting is way different than YouTube, and I didn't have a background in YouTube, obviously. I just was making stuff up and still learning how all of that works. But it's funny, like, people are like, I want to do social media. And I'm like, okay, great. Now you have to be a videographer, an audiophile. You have to learn microphones, cameras, lenses, how to edit on Final Cut or Premiere or whatever you guys use. And then you're like, I want to start a podcast. And it's like, you have to become a wizard about all the different mixers and headphones. And I was actually watching Taylor. I don't know if you watch B&B Lawn Care by chance on YouTube?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he had a great guy, B&B Lawn Care. We had I was watching one of his videos the other day with him and Natalie. They did a little marriage recap from Together in the Trades, what they took away from the event. And B&B, like, he had like the full blown, like, awesome sounding headset and the boom mic, attached to it. And poor Natalie, she had like this little kind of like MC, like, rapper booth, kind of like hanging down microphone. I don't know what that was, but Blake's like, well, I'm going to get the good headset. And then she didn't even have headphones on. She's just spitting into the mic, you know what I mean? And but it is what it is, because Blake bought I don't know the mix. Well, I think he's got the same mixer, but he bought a 3-prong, thing instead of a 4-prong. Yeah. I have no idea how this stuff's work, but so just so you guys thinking, like, I want to start a podcast, but it could be hard. Look, even the best of us, we still mess this thing up, and we have no idea what we're doing half the time. But if you want to start a podcast, get with Paul Jameson. He'll help you out. But if you want to start a lawn and landscaping business, Paul can also help you with that with the Green Industry Podcast. But that's what we're going to be talking about here with Taylor. So let me take it all the way back. So you were working at the car dealer, and I love, kind of rewinding the story a little bit, because it really does give some encouragement to other guys that are out there, Taylor, listening to the show, that we always say, if you can do it, I can do it. And so right. I remember working part-time at True Green. I remember getting, 10, 20, 30 lawns on the side, whatever I had back in the day. I kind of got the tap on the shoulder, like, hey, you don't really work here anymore. And so that was a whole different time. I was 19 or 20. I was living at home. Making $3 or $4 grand a month was back in the day, that was decent money for me. And I was like, you know what? I can be self-employed if I get 30 or 40, annual clients, that get the lawn mowed every week. So how old are you right now, if you don't mind me asking? And then what's the last 2 or 3 years look like for you putting this business together? Because when did you officially start this thing as well?
Yeah. So, I actually started it, originally I'm 29, to answer your first question there.
29. Okay. Yep.
So I started in January 2020. A friend of mine that I went to college with started a farm stand store.
Okay.
To sell all the local beef and stuff like that they get from their cows.
Okay.
And I looked at my wife and I said, if she can do it with running her beef cow or her farm and doing all this other stuff, there's no reason I can't do it. I mean, it'll be a family business. And she said, yeah, sure, it'll be a family business. Well, come to find out she's a silent partner, but that's a story for another day.
Sure.
I said, I got to do something. I liked mowing the lawn when I was younger. I'm not like a lot of you guys where you had I think everybody's story I've heard is, 12, 13 years old, walk around the neighborhood with a push mower.
Sure.
I didn't do that. I just mowed the grass because my dad told me to go mow the grass. I said, I got to do something. I'm just, I'm happy I'm out of the really bad, job I was in, prior.
Okay.
But, I needed to do something else. I looked at at the time, my very fresh young daughter and said, I want to write a check for her first year's tuition without even thinking about it.
Okay.
And the way I'm going to do that is by making my own money, because working for this dealership, it's their money. They pay me to make their money, but I'm never going to see the amount of money I need. If she chooses to go to college or doesn't, regardless, I want to have that money in the bank. So if she says, I want to go to, whatever college, I can say, here's a check for first tuition. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yep.
So, I just started building from there. I had a friend of mine who plowed up in the area that I actually live in now, who sent out to, an email at the end of the year for plowing, saying, hey, I've got a friend starting a landscaping business. Is anybody interested? So I picked up some odd jobs here and there, some aerations, stuff like that. Actually, speaking of aerations, I ended up returning the equipment and getting injured to the point where I was in a cast that wrapped up for 3-4 months to start the season.
Okay.
But I made it work. It's like I tell my wife all the time, when it comes to money issues or whatever, we always make it work. It's just part of the deal. Just got to keep moving. It's always been that mindset I have is, there is no just sitting idly by and doing nothing. They say the early bird gets the worm. I wholeheartedly believe in that. You're not going to get anything if you don't work for it.
Amen.
Today's generation's not understanding that, as we all know, because none of us can find anybody to hire.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things where if you want it, get it. So I did. Just steadily started growing, and then the next year I did that garden out front of that McDonald's there, and they sat down and they liked how I presented myself and everything like that. It was just off to the races from there.
So when you were starting the company, and your other friend had the farm or the farm stand or whatnot, what made you decide to go into lawn care? Like, did you do it in high school or college, or like as a kid, or was it just, hey, we got a 1 acre property, I want to get a zero turn, maybe cover the monthly payment on it? Like, what got you in the green industry?
So, I just remember mowing the grass when I was younger, riding mower or whatever, and just enjoying the time by myself, not having to talk to anyone, when I was working.
Okay.
I was living in an apartment when I started it. Her grandmother was nice enough to allow me to use the back area of her yard to store my trailer and equipment. It was a couple towns over. I had to drive to go get it every weekend when I wanted to use it. I wasn't supposed to have it at the apartment. I mean, obviously we still did it every now and again, but that's, got to do what you got to do.
Right.
But no, I had nothing in the green industry other than just saying, hey, I want to run a business. I'd like to do landscaping. I just like everyone else, the hardscaping and stuff looks really cool. I started watching some of your videos on YouTube and stuff like that while I was doing my research, and just kind of snowballed from there.
Okay. Very cool. Now, when you were getting the business started, did you have a bunch of like cash that you had saved up and you were going to buy, I think you were talking about the Exmark Viking was your first mower, or did you, I think you said you had the Tundra. Did you have like a trailer sitting around? Because a lot of guys want to, start up their own company. Not everybody has 25 grand laying around to buy some of the nicer equipment. So did you just cash flow this thing as you were going? I think you said you had some Craftsman stuff at the beginning, or like what was those first early months looking like?
Yeah, so the first month when I set up the LLC and everything like that, I talked with a kid that worked at the dealership, kind of like a lot assistant, and he had a trailer he was selling because he was buying a newer upgraded one. It was a little 5x8. He's like, I'll give it to you for $350. So,
okay, that's okay.
My job was selling at the time, services for your car, stuff like that. So I sold my butt off to get that $350 extra. I went down to the dealer. They had this one sitting there. They're like, yeah, it's, middle of winter, I'll give it to you for $1,600. And I said, wow, that's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. So we got our tax return back, and, I looked at my wife and I said, if I can get this now, I will make the money back and put it back in the account. I promise.
Hey, we've all been there, bro. I'm not saying nothing because that's how we all sell. We got to sell the wife first, typically.
Yeah. I said, don't divorce me. I will get it back. I promise. We'll figure it out.
That's funny,
said,
right there.
All right, you can go for it. Do your thing.
Okay.
And then my Craftsman weed whacker. My wife and I, at the mall in town, Vermont's a small area, so the mall in town was had a lot of things going out of business. Sears was one of them. Mm-hmm. So I said, let's go take a look. Let's go see what's there. And
that's like the 3 or 4 most dangerous words in the English language. Like, let's just take a look. It can't hurt to take a look,
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed in Harbor Freight by myself anymore.
No, they were Home Depot. Game over, man. That's like the male version of Target. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I came home with the brand new toolbox that stood as tall as I am, she wasn't too impressed. So
yeah, but at the same point, you probably got it for like $99.95. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kidding, having fun there. But that's awesome.
We walked in there and I walked over to the weed whacker section, and there was a curve shaft trimmer sitting there and a straight shaft. And I said, hey, I see you got that straight shaft. Do you have one out back? I'll take it, because they had them marked down to like $100 and like $75.
Oh wow!
Because the straight shaft one it was broken. It'd been a display model for like ever, and I was not convinced it was actually going to work.
Okay.
So they didn't, but they had another one of the curve shaft, so I bought it. Biggest mistake I ever made. I would never buy that again. That was a waste of $75. I think it worked 3 times.
Oh wow! And
then it burned so much oil, and it wasn't a true stroke. It took its own oil.
Oh wow!
So I think it's It was loud. It didn't work. It was a waste of money.
Sure.
Stopped in at Home Depot one day after I got like my first check from aeration and stuff like that, and bought a Echo 225.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know check your dealers, because who would have thought you can go to a dealer and buy trimmers and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how that started.
And then where did you get the Exmark Viking? Do you have a local dealer by you, or did you get that on Craigslist or Facebook or something? Or
yeah, so I'd actually spent a lot of time on Craigslist looking for them, and our local dealer here, it's called CCR Sales and Service, sells Toro Ferris. They do tractors. They have Mahindra, Coyote.
Oh yeah.
And they actually just picked up excavators this year, and they do Sani excavators, which is a newer brand to the market from what I understand.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they sold those, and they're like, yeah, the high school traded this in. None of their guys could figure out how to use it, so it never ran.
Okay. Okay.
I still have that mower today, and I can't get rid of it. I've had a friend of mine who just got started in the business this year that I work a lot with. He's been begging me to sell it to him. And I just can't let it go, because every time I walk up to it and pull the cord, it starts every freaking time. Do
you have a Kawasaki on there? One of the older, like 14, 18 horsepower ones?
Yep. An older Kawasaki. I couldn't tell you what the hours are on this machine because it's old enough that it doesn't have an hour meter.
Right. You know, it's funny. I probably put, I don't know, 800, 1,500 hours, I don't even know, on my old Viking. The first 2, 3, 4 years I had that thing. And I remember the guy, I sold it to some random dude. He was in Rochester Hills, Michigan. He came all the way to my house in New Hudson, or South Lyon, Milford area, Milford, Michigan, at my mom's trailer park. And he was like an OG seasoned landscaper. He was getting back in the industry. He had retired, and he was like bored. And he's like, I just want to mow 10, 20 lawns on the side. And he came and he did a whole once over on my mower and looked at it. He's like, I'll buy this thing right now off you, son. And I bought it for, I don't know, $5,300 new, I think it was, and I sold it to him for $2,500 cash. I probably could have got $3,500 on it, back in the day. But yeah. I didn't know what I didn't know. But I'll tell you what, man, like, it's almost like, just like my old red F-150, it has like sentimental value. And not that I need to be collecting a bunch of old equipment, because we'd all be sitting on something, like like some hoarder. But at the end of the day, I still miss that mower, and I'm always like, I wonder if it's still out there. I wonder if it's still running. I wish I engraved my name or something on it somehow, like one of those deals. Or maybe I can track down the serial number on it, and it's probably, been sold 6 times over since then, one of those deals. Because those old school Vikings and turf tracers, man, there's some of you guys listening in, you might even be rocking one right now, and they're 20 years old, 15 years old. They have 3,000 hours on them, but they still, you replace the Jungle Gym sulky every 300 hours, but they still run great. And those Kawasaki's, they, like you said, 1 pull, 2 pulls, and check the oil. But other than that, you're good to go with those things, man. Well, while we're on it with equipment, I guess let's talk about that Ferris, because were there any other mowers in between, the last 24 months, or did you go from the Viking to the Ferris, or what made you upgrade to a Stander?
So I actually, the first year, I think I was already telling you this here a little while ago before we hit record, but the Ferris that I bought a Ferris 700, and I think I didn't even mow with the X Mark, because I bought that when I took on the HOA. Okay. Because I justified it with the wife. Well, hey, it's 3 acres, and if I get this, I could take on more and make more money, and right. The whole deal everyone goes through when they're trying to figure out if they can actually justify spending the money on it. Oh yeah. I got a killer deal on it. It was a 2019 18 leftover, I think it was, or a 19 leftover. I got a great deal on it. I ran that all the way up. I actually started this season, the first 2 mows, with that 700. Okay. It was a great mower. It had a little 27 horse Briggs on it. Never had any issues. I ended up buying the advanced chute from Ballard for it. Only bent it like 3 or 4 times when I slid into fences. Oh yeah. And then me and my friend that I was just speaking about there, he and I went into CCR because he has a Toro Multiforce that he bought this year. And he had some questions on fixing it. He actually used to be a mechanic, so it works out that I know him. None of my stuff breaks now. But we walked in there, and this mower was just sitting there. It's a brand new Ferris Z3X 61-inch with the Vanguard oil guard system on it. Yeah. And I was standing on it, and the sales guy comes over with me, just busting my chops, telling me, "Oh yeah, you should really buy it. You should really buy it." I said, "All right, tell me what I've got. What are you going to give me for my 700 I have?" It was just here for service. So he goes in and he looks at it, walks down to the owner's office. It's like, "Well, hey, he just bought a tractor from us. We should give him a little bit of money for it." He ended up coming back telling me he's going to give me $3,500 for it. And I brought up my little app on my phone for like Sheffield or whoever it is, and I owed less money than he was going to give me on it. Oh, okay. So I told him, I said, "You're really twisting my arm. The only other thing is get me financing on that mower, and let's see where we're at." Hey, okay, okay. And my wife and I had just bought a house and everything, so my credit was really good still. So automatically approved, even if I was broke as a joke. And oh yeah, here I am, just shy of 100 hours on it, and it's without a doubt one of the greatest mowers I've ever run. I've tried out some other people's mowers, like my buddy's Toro and stuff like that. The stand on it, I thought I was going to hate. I'm 6'3", 280 pounds. I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
Hence where Big Red comes from.
Okay. There you go.
I'm a big dude. I was like, my back's going to kill me. I'm going to hate this. But the standing platform is actually really low on it compared to like the Toro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not hitting my head on trees, when I'm riding under them. It's got the ground speed. It's fantastic. And the footprint of this thing. I mean, if anyone's ever seen one, the back tires are just so fat on it. It looks like a drag car.
It really does. It really does. It's one of the coolest mowers, in my opinion. Like it's like one of the top tier mowers too. Cause do you have the 60 or the 72 inch?
61.
Or 61. Okay. There you go.
Yep.
When I remember demoing one a couple years ago and, dude, it was so big. It was like one of the largest mowers I had ever been on. Like, literally intimidating. And I would imagine even for somebody of your size, like you're saying, 280 and 6 something, that's still probably a big mower even for you.
It's I'm very happy. So the footprint of this thing is a square.
Yeah.
It's not really long. It's got a short nose on it. The motor's real heavy. It's got a great low center of gravity. I'm very happy that this thing is as good as it is on hills. Because I don't know if I could get out from underneath it if it went over on me, quite honestly.
That's funny right there. I wonder if that mower, I think I measured it, or in the video, I remember saying something like, I think it's wider than it is lengthwise. So like between the mower deck and then the wheels, of course, and the fenders, I'm pretty sure it's wider than it is longer, which is crazy for a mower. Most mowers are 5, 6, 7 feet long compared to being 5 feet wide. You know what I mean? But that's one of the reasons a lot of guys like stand-ons is because you can put 2 or 3 of those in an enclosed trailer if you turn them sideways. With maybe a 7x14 to 7x16 type of trailer or utility trailer. Now you've had this mower now for 1 year or 2 years?
So I just got it in May of this year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just under 100 hours. So like I haven't done a review video or anything like that on it, which I probably will end up doing.
Cool.
Once we get there.
Yeah.
But I mean, the hills I take on this, I've had my foot on the platform because that's how you keep the blades on, because you can't really run it like walking behind it like you can with a Toro.
Yep.
But my foot on the platform in the corner against the far fender well, and then my other foot on top of the fender, one-handed riding it, down the side of the road in one of the culvert drainage ditch there.
Yeah.
And it holds. It holds, which is absolutely amazes me.
I will tell you, if you guys have hilly properties and slope properties, and there's like different tiers, I guess you could say, or maybe I wouldn't really call them tiers as much as I'd call them like different categories, which I guess is tiers. But my point is, like, you've got your mid-sized mowers like your Toro Grandstands, maybe your Exmark Vertex, your Skag V Ride 2, right? And then there's like the I don't know what other way to classify them, but then you got like these bigger mowers, and they're the Wright ZK61 with a single wheel or maybe a dual wheel setup. I would put the Ferris Z3X, in this top of the line category, like the juggernauts of these bigger mowers. Because a lot of guys, Taylor, they're like, hey, what's a good stand-up mower for hillside mowing and slope mowing? And I'm like, like the mid tiers, they all can hold a hill. But you get anything over 15 degrees, you're going to be, especially with a wet, dewy morning.
Absolutely.
You're going to slide down the hill. But I'll tell you what, I know exactly what you're talking about with that, not 72, but the Ferris Z3X, because we had this one guy's property. He had this massive drainage ditch. And of course, there's a bunch of evergreens and pine trees. Yeah. So we had to like swoop down and around into the ditch to go around this tree. And we would put all this pressure, on that back tire that was kicking around down this ditch. And I'm talking about a 7-8 foot down drainage ditch. And that Ferris, we were demoing it at the time, and it stuck like nobody's business. And I'm like, dude, I would never, ever even take my zero turn on this thing. Like, just because you're going to slide down into this watery ditch. And that mower always stuck. And I never did a YouTube video on it because, I do all these videos with YouTube and demos, and just so you guys know some like behind the scenes stuff, I have to sign a bunch of like NDAs and legal agreements, and hey, don't be an idiot with our mower, and I can't use it in like conditions that they can't put out on their channels, right? So like, okay, every mower says don't take over 15 degree grade slope. Well, if I do a 20-degree grade, slope or incline, then they get all pissed off on YouTube or, legal departments. For real, like, dude, they're no joke on it. So that's why I don't do like the Stanley Dirt Monkey extreme testing stuff, because the companies don't want to see that. I got to use it in a safe manner, right? So this drainage ditch, although it was super cool, it looked like a rock crawler. They said, like, we can't use any of this footage. Please don't put this in the video. Cool that it did it, but we can't promote it because, like, they have to CYA for their end too, But man, solid mower. So great choice there. So you ended up selling the IS 700. That's the one of the smaller Ferris zero turns. They traded that one in then.
Yep. Yeah, I traded that in, and they had it sold within a week because obviously nobody can buy anything this year.
Wow.
But
that's awesome.
I kind of fell in love with the Ferris, start because it had a full suspension on it. Being a big guy, I don't need to be riding around on a brick. Especially where I am, it's, hilly, bumpy. I probably have, 3 or 4 lawns that are actually like flat,
okay,
truly flat.
Okay.
So, I mean, the guys are like, oh, you're going to love this. I'm like, yeah, you're a salesman. Of course you're going to say that. And, I have yet to have my back hurt when I get home unless I lifted something and hurt myself.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Makes sense. Well, okay. So take me through the conversation then from where you're at back then to where you're at today. So if you're full time in the business, you just left the dealership. It sounded like April, May timeframe, and you went full time.
Yep.
Or maybe even March. What does the business look like today? How are you solo? Do you got 1 or 2 guys or any helpers? And how many clients are you taking care of weekly?
Yeah. So I have. I'm solo right now. Every now and again, I do have, a guy come out and help me out when I can. A friend of mine, I've had him, essentially subcontracted him to come in and be my second guy. And we've, taken care of properties if we get backed up. He takes care of 2 of the McDonald's for me that are up a little bit farther north from where I live. Okay. Which is like just 2 towns over from where I service. Because I don't have anything up there, but he does. So I said, here, you can have these. I'll pay you for it. Okay. I have another gentleman down probably about an hour away from me that takes care of one of the ones down there because it's right next to his route. But other than that, I had, in total, there's 10 stores. So I take care of, math here, 7 of them myself in the area. I have another 20 or so customers mixed between commercial and residential, and I'm actually picking up another 4 commercial CVS mowing contracts here.
Wow, dude, that's freaking awesome. And so you have a couple buddies that you can sub out some work for. Do you have any employees right now with you as well?
If the IRS is asking and everybody else,
no, off the record, I don't care. Nobody cares over here. That's the nod.
No, I don't. I've been really wanting to hire somebody.
Cool.
Pretty much, I jumped in April. My schedule just kept getting more full. And I looked at my wife. I said, first off, this is awesome. Second off, how in the heck am I going to do this?
Right.
And I was like, I got to hire someone. She's like, all right, put a posting out. And I have gotten 0 interest in any of the posts that I put out hiring someone. So
that's cool. Well, and you know what? That's as simple as hiring a payroll company and getting some good employee documentation type stuff. I always say an employee handbook and an employee application. There's more you can get, of course. Get a couple crew shirts, with your logo on it and your colors, and you're off to the races. It doesn't have to be anything super hard or super formal. It needs to be formal in terms of compliance, but it doesn't have to be this like, hey, I've never hired somebody. I need to spend thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours learning. It's not that complicated. So, But if you're going to do it right is always my suggestion. And just that way you're protecting your butt as well when you start hiring those first couple of guys. But yeah, man, good for you guys. That's awesome. So now with the company, with where it's at today, where do you plan to take things? Are you looking to get bigger? Are you looking to expand with a couple crews? No right or wrong answer, of course.
Yeah. So this year has exploded to a sense where I'm actually, because I can't hire somebody, I've actually sat down with a friend of mine that I've been subbing some stuff to, And he and I are, we work together enough where we're on the same page of what our expectations of our property, understand the dress code. You don't show up, cut off t-shirts or going around the yard, with no shirt on. Just everything that we've talked about, we all seem to be on the same page. So he and I have been tossing around the idea when I changed the company name to Big Red Outdoor Services this winter, because I want to get into more tractor work, excavation, pavers, stuff like that.
Okay.
That he and I might, we've got a lot of sitting down and talking to, and it's not ironed out, but we might actually go in as kind of like a partnership in the sense that neither of us can find help, but we both need help. But we both know we can make a lot more money and do better and build a bigger company.
Heck yeah.
With someone who cares as much as we do.
Yeah.
I know you've got Rob, who's like, I think everybody out there wishes they could have someone like Rob.
Sure. No, for sure.
I told him, because he straight up asked me, he goes, "You're making more money a year." Because I told him, he asked me how much I was going to make, and I'll put it out there. I mean, before I get into winter, I'm going to be at 110 this year.
Cool.
And he's like, "I'm not making that much. What do you gain from this?" And I said, "Someone who cares as much as I do, that'll take care of the customer and treat them the way they deserve to be treated." So, it's an idea. We're thinking about it, but I'd like to have a couple crews. In the next 5 years, I want to have a tandem axle dump truck on the road, even if it's just hauling for one of the construction companies.
Cool.
Excavation stuff. I bought the tractor this year because I originally didn't think I could upgrade my truck. So I bought a $30,000 tractor, and then bought a truck right after that. So my wife was real impressed with that one.
Just had to get that in there. That's funny.
Oh yeah,
I picked that up. Dude, it's so funny because I bought this new truck this year. Liz's like, "Do we really need that? We're trying to buy a house." I'm like, "Yes." And then it's sat in the driveway for 2 months because I've been on tour. I'm doing a bunch of crap. She's like, "I thought you were going to be doing more landscaping work." I'm like, "I'm getting there." Okay. And she's like, "Well, if we had what the down payment was, we could already be building the house." I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's just funny how that works. But, it just, that cracked me up when you just said that. Hey, by the way, what tractor do you have? Because I might buy a tractor one day for the property. And, I know a bunch of guys have the Yanmars, the Kubotas. Did you pick up one of those Coyotes, or what did you end up going with?
Yeah, so I got a Coyote 3510, so it's a 35 horse tractor.
Okay.
I bought it in the winter, and I told them to get me a brush hog, and the guy looked at me like I was crazy.
Why is that?
In the brush hog, because it's the middle of winter, and I'm buying a brush hog for a tractor.
Oh, sure.
And my wife was like, "Oh, well, the payments are the same. Don't take this out of it," because I was trying to get some of the implements and stuff on there.
Okay.
So my tractor has a third function for the front, so I can put a grapple on it.
Oh.
Because I figured I'm not going to hurt my back if I just get a grapple and pick up brush that way instead of trying to load it by hand. Because I ended up buying a dump trailer this year as well. From a friend of mine who's actually let me borrow it the last couple of years when I needed it, just to try to help me out and, let me build my company as I go. So I bought a bunch of stuff with it. And then the brush hog is actually sat in my 2-car garage in her parking spot since I bought it up until last weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, she's really on board with me getting a shop and moving all the stuff out of her way so she can park inside.
I bet.
Because we haven't had. Well, we just bought this great house, and we've got 10 acres, and a lot of sweat equity went into the house because I helped the builder do some of the stuff, and yeah,
that's cool.
It's one thing after another. My list for the property, which I'm sure yours will be too, as soon as it's done, is a mile long.
That's something my friend Mike Bedell talks to me all the time. He's like, "Man," he goes, "working late's great, but there's something about getting done at 4 or 5 o'clock and then working on your property, and." He's like, before I rush out the door in spring and do all the spring cleanups for everybody else, he's like, I got to spend some time on my property or it never gets done. And that's one thing I told Liz. I'm like, hey, one day you might have to 0 turn mow this thing, 3.5 acres. And like you said, run a tractor and feed the chickens and all this other crap. And she's like, what? And I'm like, bro, we have like the family estate, the family farm. Like we got to, work together. And she's like, okay. And so if you guys don't know, listening in, my girl's more of a city girl. And I'm not like totally country, but I'm a little bit more dirt roads country boy, and but I'd also like, I'm so tired of working outside in the dirt, in the ground, like just like you guys, where I'm like, you know what? I might just hire it all out, to be honest with you, Taylor. Like from the pole barn to the landscaping, I don't want to do any of it, to be honest with you. Like I'm so done. I've been doing it for 20 years where I'm just like, I just want to call up Troy Clogg's company and be like, hey, I got 75 grand, like make it rain. And I'm telling you guys, like you think I'm crazy, but I think I might do like a seat wall or something as a pet project, but and like do some paver stuff. But other than that, I don't know. Like I don't know if I ever want to like sling mulch at my own house. You know what I mean? Because I'll probably have the guys do it, to be honest with you, because they can get some hours in and make some money. Amen. But
I came home with spare mulch, dropped it in the driveway, and said, "Here you go, honey. You guys can do mulch today." And then,
did you ever move it? Did you ever move it, or she like go get your tractor?
Oh yeah, no, it's all in the bed. Thank God it's a very small bed, because if she's like, I'm very sweaty, I'm never doing this again.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure, man, for sure. Well, and like you said, every time you do a mulch job in the spring and you got like a yard and a half left over, where's it go? It's coming home.
It's going to the house.
It's going to the house, man. And I don't know, man. I just maybe at the first year or two, I'll have some excitement and some zeal for it, but as time goes by, I'm probably turning into the lazy old landscaper and be like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And at best, have the guys do it, or just hire like a local company or get some like local teenagers. I got a young kid named Bronson that helps me out at the property right now. He's been mowing that thing, and God, that kid's making some money. I'll tell you what. But I don't know, man. That's where it goes. So how do you like the coyote? Is it coyote or coyote?
Honestly, I don't know. I've heard it both ways. I call it coyote because it looks like it's a coyote on the seat.
It's probably
a little picture.
It's probably coyote. I don't know. It's some Japanese thing, Chinese thing. But has it been a good tractor for you though? Do you like it? I see them all the time at Equip Expo.
Yeah, I mean, I had a dead battery to start, so that kind of was a bummer. Saying I was brand new and only had like 10 hours on it. And then I had a hydro leak from the third function that they put on, but they owned it. The dealer's been great to me. Mm-hmm. I call up my sales guy, and if I call him, he immediately answers with, "What'd you break?" Because he knows if I'm happy with him, I'm gonna text him. If I'm mad at him, I'm gonna call him.
Right.
But he, I give him a call, I let him know what's going on, and he goes right over to service, tells him what's going on, and I tell them, listen, I make money with this. I'm not Johnny Homemaker with my hobby farm. Like, I need my stuff moving and working now.
Right.
And they've been great to me. I got that tip from, either one of your podcasts or, one of your videos of, that dealership relation. I can walk in there. I know all three sales guys and the owner. The owner is actually going to help me get like bulk salt for this winter.
Oh, cool.
So, just build that relationship and just keep talking to people. And you'd be surprised what you can get from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, good for you guys, man. I'm always looking at different pieces of equipment out there. Where we're moving to, it's going to be a little bit more rural. So I've been kind of eyeballing like more tractor work, or I've been talking to my buddy Brett, talking to Logan Manning. He's got a skid steer, and they've been doing a bunch of dirt work and excavation work. And so I don't think I really want to do more mowing. We've got a mow route. We're happy with it. We could pick up or lose a couple customers, but that's pretty fine and established. But that's why I got the bigger trailer, the bigger truck, to maybe get a tractor or a Ventrac or a skid, and we could do different type of work, and I could be moving around versus just being kind of stuck on the mow crew all day personally. So good stuff.
I think that's what a lot of people are really looking for. Coming out of mowing and stuff like that, they don't want to mow for the rest of their life.
Right. Right.
They want to get into other stuff. I mean, I'm already there, and I'm only in year 3.
Yeah, dude, I feel you there, man. I've mowed for 17 seasons, man, and plus, the first 8 years as a scrimmage from, when I was a 10, 11-year-old to 19 when I got back in the industry. So mowing's fun. Don't get me wrong, but you mow the same 100 properties every week for 26 weeks times 17 years. It's like, you're like, I've mowed the same lawn for 18 years or 17 years. It gets a little redundant versus, hey, we're going to go make some pole barn pad for $5,000, make $3,000 in 2 days. You know what I mean? Or a day. That sounds more exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I were talking a little bit earlier, trying to bump around times and stuff like that, and I'm getting caught up getting, quotes on paver stuff because I'm going to do this like little walkway memorial garden thing, and I'm so excited to do it. It's going to look awesome in my head. Hopefully, I can put it down and make it look awesome as well.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for it. I can't even express how excited I am to do this project.
Well, there you go. I think that's one of the secrets in the industry is to constantly change it up. And I think that's why so many people enjoy landscaping because every job is different, and every access point is different. Every final product is different. The customer's needs and wants are different. And I get it. Trust me. Yep. I think that's awesome. It keeps it fresh, but it also, as you would imagine, keeps you on your toes because then you have to do quotes and bids, estimates, price everything out from every stick of, adhesive and glue that you're using to every paver to every plant that you're planting, right? So it's definitely a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more, you got to have your head on a swivel versus maybe mowing and doing the same 50, 80, 100 lawns a week or 500 lawns a week, depending on, the size of your guys' company. Amen. But that's awesome,
Absolutely.
Man. Well, let's do this really quick, man. We'll probably button this thing up right here. I think this was a good episode. I don't want to take your whole afternoon. I know you're in town and running some errands and getting this quote together like you were just alluding to, but any final things you want to leave these guys or parting thoughts or pearls of wisdom while we got you on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of hate out there for YouTubers or anyone who's in social media, but there's so much to be learned from, everybody. I've taken stuff from you, from Blake, from Keith, just everybody, the Spencers, and kind of morph that into what works for me out here. Mm-hmm. Someone can tell you there's the right way to run something and the wrong way to run something, and you might find it's vice versa. You just got to find what works for you. Don't get discouraged with, the mistakes you make. Cause if you do that, it's just going to crush you. We're all human. We make mistakes. I make mistakes daily. Just fix them, work with people, and just keep trying to make connections with people. I mean, there's quite a few landscapers around here that we all kind of talk to each other and hey, I'm bidding on this. Are you bidding on that? But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Depending on how bad you want it, it's do I underbid him? No, I'm not going to do that. I don't really need it. Give it to him, sort of thing.
Yep.
But just help each other out. That's the only way we're all going to get on the same page. Because I know, the big thing is know your worth, but you can't do that if people are undercutting you. Mm-hmm. So just work together. I keep trying to get back to my YouTube channel. I did lose my GoPro in the move, so that hasn't worked out all that well. But trying to get back to that. I have no idea where it's in a box.
That's a $400. Where did that go? One of those deals,
Yeah, if my wife asked, it was only like 150 on sale or something like that.
I feel you, man. Dude, trust me. If you're blinking, I can see it from here. You know what I mean? So I got you.
But yeah, no, I mean, I like helping people. Something I didn't say is I've been a volunteer firefighter since high school, so I've been doing it a long time. I like helping people. That's why I kind of gravitated towards a lot of your videos and realized how much they helped me. So now I can turn around and help other people.
That's awesome.
I actually, one of the sales guys at my dealership gave this kid that's starting out my phone number so he can ask me questions.
Oh, cool.
And he and I talk probably 2-3 times a week about different things. So I'm doing what I can, but I don't know it all, and just keep learning. And it's a lot of fun. The journey is fun.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I always love it when it's helping the two different groups out there. One, my part-timer friends, and then two, the guys looking to go full-time. Because if you're already full-time, you've already figured out enough of the basics to make some money, pay the bills. Now you're just kind of dialing it in. But the part-time guys, they're the ones trying to grow a side hustle with limited funds, limited time, limited budget. And so I really enjoy those guys. And then number two are all the people that are trying to, go full time. They're trying to leave their job. They're trying to take the business full time and take care of their family. And a lot of them happen to be teachers, fire, police, EMS, military. It's crazy. I just was returning an email yesterday from a president of, he's not, I don't know, what do they call not the president, the principal of a small school district. And he's like, I make good, decent money here, but not a lot of upward mobility. and he's like, I listened to the show and the podcast. He's like, he's kind of at the top of the food, totem pole. Right. And so, but it's awesome getting to talk to him. And then I, talk to guys like Vince and Mike Garvey, you guys heard them both recently on Paul's show, and they're, state troopers and police officers. And it's just some of the most fun conversation to help those guys grow, because they're serving their community, they're making money, they're taking care of their family, and it's just it's really, really cool to see what those guys are putting together. So your background in working with the volunteer fire department and stuff like that, just that's exactly the kind of folks that I love talking to and having great conversations with, like we did today here, sharing your story.
Yeah. I appreciate you having me on, and if you're ever up in this area, by all means, I'm sure with my 10 acres we can find some pew-pews to have fun with. But
hey, I'm never gonna turn down that invitation. I'll tell you that. I don't know if I can get mine over there because of the strict gun laws in the Northeast. But nonetheless, if you got all
there aren't any in Vermont.
Yeah, dude, you really? So, well, if that's the case, I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? But to shoot outdoors, that's now we're talking my language. Yeah, it's wild. My friend Sean, who's over in Rhode Island, you guys might have heard me talk about going to Rhode Island a couple times. We have a really good couple friend over there, and he just got his CPL and all this other stuff, and he's got to go in front of like a board of people and like a magistrate and all this other stuff to get his concealed carry and get a, make a case of why he should be allowed to have it, all this wild stuff with where he's living. And I don't know, I'm like, what's going on over here? And he's like,
yeah,
and he's pretty moderate. He's not either side, to be honest with you. He's pretty moderate, but he's like, I just want to protect my family, for crying out loud. And I don't know. It's wild out there. You know what I mean? But if you got 10 acres and an open range and an area we can go put some downrange, then I'm your guy. So I need to get over to your guys' neck of the woods, man. That's awesome. How far is where's Vermont? I know it's not where Denmark is, but how? That's funny right there. Where's Vermont in relation to like Rhode Island, Massachusetts? Is it north or west, or how far from there?
So first off, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island have the strictest gun laws. But anyway,
they do. That's for sure.
You got above that, you've got New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, which are all constitutional carry states.
Okay. But that's good. Yeah.
So we're just north of that. One of the properties that I actually sub out, the McDonald's there, is actually 4 miles from the Canadian border.
Oh wow. Okay, so you guys are way up there.
Yeah, I mean, the Burlington area, if you find where Burlington is, Lake Champlain and stuff like that, you'll be able to find me.
Okay.
But yeah, tell the wife about Stowe. It's just over the mountain from me, and Stowe's a really nice touristy town, and it's a good time.
Shoot me a text message with some info, would you, afterwards? Because I've been trying to get the wife to, and this is we'll button up the show here, but this is kind of a stupid a thing that I want to do is I want to take a train ride. I love it, without sounding like a complete moron here. I love trains. I love riding trains. I think trains are awesome. Shout out to Randy with G4 Outdoors. But there's a couple people that are like closet train people that listen to the show. And anyway, they have like the tours, like you go on these train car rides, and they're like 7-day excursions, 10-day excursions. But dude, for real, like there's some huge train routes or whatever you call it that go all the way up into the New England states, up and around through Canada, back down and around. And we're talking like 10-day tours where you like sleep on the train and all that kind of crap. So if I'm ever like going north and east, that's what I'm saying. Shoot me some messages. Let me know where some of these cool touristy spots are, or the cities that you guys live in, because I told Liz, I don't know what time or day we can actually like get away for like 10 days, but that's something on my bucket list is either go west, on a 10-day train ride, or go like north and east. I think the New England states in the fall would actually be super dope. Like just the scenery, the fall color tour, all that mess.
Yeah, just don't come into my town because I'll put you to work with leaf cleanup.
Heck no, man. No way, dude. That's like, you guys have some crazy leaves in the New England states, man. I might actually come over there. I'll take a day off on my train ride and pay for my whole train trip, man, for crying out loud. Like we get a box truck full of leaves and some billy goats, man. We'll suck all that crap up.
Absolutely.
I literally was hanging with my friend Sean, my couple friend Sean and Brittany with my wife. We flew over to Rhode Island. I had never seen so many leaves in my entire life than what I saw in New Kingston area and that whole area of Rhode Island. I think it's New Kingston or Kingstown or something like that or whatever it was.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, there was so many leaves. My friend Sean's like, I'm just driving around going, dude, look at the leaves. And he's like, and he's an engineer and he's, making decent money and all this other mess. And he's like, what are you talking about, bro? I'm like, dude, there's $500,000 I'd make here in leaf cleanups alone. And he's just like, they're leaves. And I'm like, I know, look at the leaves. It's like manna from heaven, and he's like, dude, you're so weird.
It's even worse up here because we got Vermont. I think has more cows than we do people, and it's called the Green Mountain State for a reason.
Okay, Vermont. I've never been over that way, man. I need to get over there. That's what I'm saying. Send me some photos. Send me some cool stuff to do. If you guys live in Vermont, shoot me some DMs or shoot me an email with some cool stuff because I do. I need to travel over in the New England states, and I've heard there's like not a ton going on in Maine necessarily. It's a little bit more like plain and kind of chill, but I don't know. If you got some cool stuff going on in Maine, shout out to my New England folks over there. But I'll tell you what, I want to go like find Bernie Sanders as one of his $4 million mansions. You know what I mean? And be like, "What's up, Bernie?" And maybe he'll let me stay and move in. I don't know. What do you think? It's I don't know.
We won't talk about that.
You want to go down that rabbit? I'm sure there's one Bernie guy that listens to the show, but keep listening it in, and we'll try to convert him too. But all right, we'll land the plane here before we get into too much trouble. Where can people find you, Taylor? And then we'll button this thing up, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get back into my YouTube channel. It's Big Red Lawns on YouTube, but
cool.
Videos are not all that great. Going to work on it. And then I've got Facebook and Instagram. It's Big Red Lawns VT1.
Okay, cool deal. So on Instagram, make sure you guys give them a follow. Big Red Lawns VT, like Vermont 1. And if you guys have questions on that Ferris, that Coyote tractor, give Taylor a shout because I'm sure he'll help you out. I might be picking your brain in the future too because I see those guys all the time at Equip Expo, and it's pretty cool tractor. Somebody was giving me some feedback. They said, yeah, it's cool, but unless you have a dealer nearby for support, it's going to be kind of hard to keep that thing up and running, which is fair. They might not have the same, dealer network as maybe a Kubota or a Yanmar, if you will. But,
right.
Nonetheless, you can get that's always a trade-off is sometimes you get a great value and package though. One brand might be $25,000, the other brand might be, the same price, but you get twice as many features and 25% bigger engine, so on and so forth, because they're trying to take some of that market share. So that could be your upside. So that's always something to consider. Even though the brand might not be huge, you might be able to get some extra perks and more machine for the money, if you will. So yeah, absolutely, man. All right, cool deal. We'll button this up right here. If you guys enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a quick 5-star review and rating. We always appreciate that. And also, if you guys are new to the show, don't forget to click the plus button in the corner, which is the follow. That way, you guys get notified anytime there is a new show that drops on the podcast, and it automatically downloads to your phone. So at 7 a.m., you guys are able to listen to the latest and greatest anytime we drop a new episode. So, Taylor, thanks again for taking time to be on the show this afternoon, brother. We'll let you go so you can get back to bidding that landscape and paver job, and we'll look forward to catching up with you on the next one, bud.
All right, see you later.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for listening to this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, guys. Let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, down in the ATL, and we will catch up with all of you guys here on the next one.
Are you dreaming of enjoying your favorite ice-cold beverage on the perfect lawn this summer? Have you spent hours in your yard trying to turn it into a masterpiece only to realize you're not Picasso? We've all been there and know how frustrating and time-consuming this can be. Luckily, Landsea is the solution for all of your lawn care needs. Our diverse catalog of products was expertly developed by a lawn care enthusiast for lawn care enthusiasts. No BS, no inflated price tags, just user-friendly, affordable, quality equipment that can be easily assembled, easily maneuvered, and easily maintained season after season, no matter your experience level. We are so confident that our products will deliver that we're offering free shipping year-round and a complimentary lifetime product guarantee allowing you to buy with confidence. Landsea is also the exclusive U.S. retailer of Swardman Reel Mowers. Swordman mowers are precision engineered and beautifully designed to cut your lawn quietly and efficiently time after time. Be the envy of all your neighbors this summer and visit Landsy.com to take the first step in achieving the better lawn of your dreams. That's LANDZIE.com. And you know what? That drink will never taste better. Use the code Brian's10 to save 10%, and the link is in the show notes.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.